Hi Year 10s and welcome to this video on graphing by completing the square. We have a quadratic here that's in general form. So it's not in the nice form that we've been talking about previously. It's not in the form y equals x take h all squared plus k. That form is good because we know that if we have something written in that form, we just know that the vertex is hk, and we know that the vertical translation then is k and the horizontal translation is h. So by completing the square, what we can do is actually get this equation that we've written here in that form with which we can graph. You would remember when we talked about completing the square that we did it with an equation where it was equal to 0, we'd move the constant to the right hand side, and then we'd do a series of steps to solve for x. We're going to do similar steps here, but because we've got y equals x squared take 6x take 2, we don't have 0 on the right hand side anymore. We can't move our constant to the right hand side. So we're going to leave it there. That's fine. But you remember what we did was that we would take the coefficient of x. So we'd get the coefficient of x, which is in this case -6. We'd divide it by 2 and square it. And then we'd add that to both sides of the equation. So we're just going to remember that and write that over here in this case. We're going to do b on 2 squared. Don't confuse b with -6. b is referring to the equation ax squared plus bx plus c, where b is the coefficient of the x term. So b over 2 squared is actually going to be -3 over 2 squared. -6 over 2 squared, sorry. Because b is -6. So that's going to give us -6 over 2 squared, which is actually equal to 3 squared, which equals 9. So we now have this equation. We know that b over 2 all squared is equal to 9. And what we can do is we can write that and insert that in here. So we're going to do y equals x squared take 6x. I'm actually going to put that bit in a bracket with a bit of a gap. Put the take 2 out there. And then in that gap, I'm going to put that 9. I'm going to put what I've just formed. I'm going to add 9 into this equation. Because I've added 9, I'm also going to take 9. So then I get the equation y equals x squared take 6x plus 9 take 2 take 9. So with the next step, I can just write that again. And obviously I can make -2 take 9. I can make that -11. So I'm just going to leave that bracket there and put -11 out here. Now hopefully you can see that this is x squared take 6x plus 9 can be factorised because both x squared and 9 are actually squares, because 9 can be written as 3 squared. This is exactly completing the square like we've done before in the previous topic. Now we just take, in this bracket, we're going to get a squared bracket. We're going to put the x in there from here. So that's the x goes in there. The sign in front of that x term goes straight down in there, so we get take. And then our final term is actually what we've come out with, what we've squared to get that number. So that number's 9, but the thing that we squared to get 9 is 3. Okay, so if you always think of that, it's going to be the square root of 9, or the square root of that number is going to go inside that bracket. So if that helps you to think about what goes inside that bracket, remember it's always going to be the square root of that number. So that's going to be, in this case, the square root of 9. And so then you go, well, y is going to be equal x take 3 all squared take 11. And so this now enables us to be able to graph this because we've got it in vertex form, and we know that the vertex in this case is 3, -11. If we look at that, we've got a y-intercept that's quite a way down. So I'm going to put this quite a way down, and I'm just going to put a quick scale. I'm going to draw it pretty roughly. Got y and x. I've got -11 down here somewhere. Notice I'm putting a scale on. 3, -3, and so my quadratic 3, -11 has its vertex about there. And so I'm just going to sketch the graph. I know it's going upwards because of the number in front of x squared is positive. And so my graph will look something like that. And I'd label that as 3, -11, and you've graphed the graph you've been given. So that's how we graph by completing the square, have a go at practicing some questions on that.